Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to assignment number 3, part B of A Raisin in the Sun. Now, where we left off yesterday, Ruth came back with what should have been fantastic and wonderful news, and it was for Mama. She's super excited. Yay, little baby. But it was really bad news to Ruth. And it's not because she doesn't want to have another child. No, it's because she's afraid of bringing the child into this reality, the reality of the racism and the prejudice and the deferred dreams and the poverty. And mostly she's afraid of what it's going to do to Walter, this information, this news. But I think she's also afraid for the baby itself, that it would come into, that she's going to have to raise this baby in this poverty. Now, if everything goes well, and Mama uses this check wisely and they get the down payment for the house, Ruth doesn't have to worry about that. But that's just the poverty. That does not talk about the deferred dreams that her husband is dealing with right now with Walter Lee, and that he's being crushed. And that eventually, if we talk about the poem Harlem, that this heavy load it's like a heavy load, and eventually it's going to explode on him. And she's worried about that. She's worried that this might be the last straw that pushes him over that edge. So let's see what happens now. Interestingly enough, and it was Lorraine Hansberry, the author of this play, does this on purpose, and she does it wonderfully. She juxtaposes, which means puts together the poverty with the situation. In other words, at the very same minute that Ruth is talking about the fact that she has this child in her, right, that they have to come to grips with this and make that is when they see Travis outside chasing a rat. Now, if anybody knows anything about rats, you don't go near these things. They are diseased, to say the least. You don't want to get bitten by one. God forbid they have rabies or anything else. As everybody knows by now, that the Black Plague was actually caused by the fleas on the back of the rats, and killed millions and millions of people in like the 13th, 14th, and 15th, and 16th centuries. These rats are bad. They are disgusting. They're really awful. You don't want to live in a neighborhood where there's rats. You want to get away from that as soon as possible. You don't want to raise your children in a place where there's rats. There are some stories that in really, really, really bad neighborhoods that people have to be careful of watching their infants, because rats will come in and eat them, like eat their eyes or their fingers or whatnot, because the baby can't stop them. They're too small. And some of these rats can be huge, the size of cats and dogs. So these are the things that Ruth is dealing with and thinking about. And then they find out that Travis is outside playing with rats, chasing them. That's where we left off. And it just shows you what Ruth is dealing with. Also, one other thing, she said that she went and saw the doctor, right? And Mama looked at her and said, "Doctor said everything would be all right." And Ruth, very far away, because she's thinking about the rat problem with her son and whatnot, she says, "Yes." She said everything is going to be fine. And Mama, and this is where we're going to pick it up, immediately suspicious. What doctor you went to? Now, we're going to find out in a minute. And you can tell just by Mama's expression that their doctor is a male. It's a man. So the fact that Ruth went to a female doctor, Mama is instantly suspicious, immediately suspicious, because I think she knows who this female doctor is that Ruth went to. I'm not going to give it away just yet. Maybe some of you can figure this out, but we'll see as we go on. So Ruth just looks at Mama meaningfully, and Mama opens her mouth to speak as Travis bursts in. So Ruth looks at Mama meaningfully. So she doesn't answer that question. So I think Mama is right about being suspicious about this female doctor. And she's about to speak when Travis bursts in, and listen to what Travis is going to say. Also, he doesn't know. Remember, Travis doesn't know about any of this situation, that Mama fainted, that Mama went to the doctor, that Mama is pregnant with his little brother or sister, that Mama may or may not have gone to the right doctor. And look when he comes in, Travis, excited and full of narrative, coming directly to his mother. "Mama, you should have seen the rat. Big as a cat, honest." He shows an exaggerated size with his hands. "Golly, that rat was really cutting, and Bubber caught him with his heel, and the janitor, Miss Barnett, got him with a stick, and then they got him in a quarter, and bam, bam, bam." And he was still jumping around and bleeding like everything, too. There's rat blood all over the street. Guys, it is never good when a little boy is outside killing any kind of animals or being part of anything like that. It's actually quite terrible and awful. But the fact that they're outside, he and his friends and the janitor are killing rats with sticks and blood is flying everywhere. If you're Ruth, Travis's mother, You don't want to hear that your son is dealing with any of this. And this is at the exact same time that you're thinking about bringing another baby into this. That's what's affecting Ruth so much. Ruth reaches out suddenly and grabs her son without even looking at him and clamps her hand over his mouth and holds him to her. So Ruth pulls him in and loves this boy because she wants to protect him from this poverty, this disgustingness. Mama crosses to them rapidly and takes the boy from her. You hush up now, talking all that terrible stuff. Travis is staring at his mother with a stunned expression. He doesn't know why Ruth just grabbed him and hugged him so tightly and tried to close his mouth so he wouldn't talk about it anymore, but that she just loved him. He doesn't understand. Benita comes quickly and takes him away from his grandmother and ushers him to the door. You go back outside and play, but not with any rats. She pushes him gently out the door with the boy straining to see what's wrong with his mother. Mama worriedly hovering over Ruth. Ruth, honey, what's the matter with you? You sick? Ruth has her fists clenched on her thighs and is fighting hard to suppress a scream that seems to be rising in her. Let me say that again. Ruth has her fists clenched on her thighs and is fighting hard, which means she's almost losing this battle to suppress a scream that seems to be rising with her. She's so upset about the situation that they're dealing with and Travis and this rat that she's about to scream. That's how big this is right now. And Benita says, what's the matter with her, Mama? And Mama working her fingers in Ruth's shoulders to relax her. She'd be all right. Women get right depressed sometimes when they get her way, speaking softly, expertly, rapidly. Now you just relax. That's right. Just lean back. Don't think about nothing at all. Nothing at all. Ruth says, I'm all right. The glassy-eyed looks melt, and then she collapses into a heavy fit of sobbing. The bell rings. All right, so right at this time that Ruth just starts bawling, crying, the bell rings. The doorbell rings. It's Assegai. I even forgot that Assegai was on his way over with all this crazy news that's going on. I mean, can you talk about bad timing? And let me ask you something, ladies and gentlemen. When you walk into a room where people were either just fighting or crying, can you sense that something wrong is in that room? And the answer is, of course you can. Now, you can't explain that sense. You can't smell it. You can't see it. You can't hear it. You can't taste it. You can't touch it. It's more of a feeling, right? It's like a sixth sense, and it's a feeling that there's something wrong. Now, Assegai, poor Assegai, he's coming over to give a gift to Benita. We're going to find out that Assegai really likes Benita. Poor Assegai has no idea what's going on. So he's about to walk into a really bad situation. Let's go. Mama to Ruth. I'm sorry, Benita. Oh, my God. That must be Assegai. Mama to Ruth. Come on now, honey. You need to lie down and rest a while. Then have some nice hot food. So again, Mama, gotta love Mama. She's worried, very worried about her daughter-in-law. Remember, she cares about the family more than anything else. So she's going to take care of her sick daughter-in-law. And also very wisely, she gets her out of the room. You don't want Assegai showing up to the first time to your house and find a crying woman standing there where there's clearly something really, really wrong. You don't want to stick him in the middle of that. I mean, is it her right to cry in her house? Absolutely. But you don't want to put that onto a guest. You really don't. So Mama gets her into the back so that he doesn't have to see that. Let's go on. They exit. Ruth's weight on her mother-in-law. Look at that. Ruth's weight on her mother-in-law. She's leaning on her mom. I don't think that she is going to faint again, possibly. I think she's so upset that she needs to hold on to Mom to stay upright. That's how very upset that Ruth is. And watch this. They exit. Ruth's weight on her mother-in-law. Benita herself profoundly disturbed. Profoundly disturbed. That means this has really disturbed Benita as well. So, I mean, she's still, what's the word that I'm looking for? She's still synthesizing, analyzing the information that she just got. She just found out a minute ago that her sister-in-law is pregnant with another baby, and that other baby is going to be brought into this apartment where there is no room for it, and where they're dealing with rats and cockroaches and stuff like that. So she's, still dealing with this information. And now here comes Assegai. What perfect timing, but that's the way life works. Opens the door to admit a rather dramatic-looking young man with a large package. Hello, Aleo. Benita, holding the door open and regarding him with pleasure. I just want to point that out. And regarding him with pleasure, she's genuinely happy to see this man. She hasn't seen him for a while. We're going to find out he has been in Canada on a trip for the summer. But the fact that she's so happy to see him, he brightens up the mood. She's in such a terrible mood, and it's just profoundly disturbed about she just found out her sister we'll talk more about what her sister-in-law is thinking and what Benita is worried that her sister-in-law is thinking. But here comes Asagai. Let's find out. Hello, long pause. Well, come in. And please excuse everything. My mother was very upset about me letting anyone come here with a place like this. Asagai coming into the room. You look disturbed too. Is something wrong? Oh, just guys, I'm just going to point this out right now. Go Asagai. Did you see that? He comes in and like I said, he senses that something is wrong. He even says, this time he can see it. He says, you look disturbed too. He can see it on her face that there is something really wrong with her. And what does he do right away? He asks her about it. Now, would George Murchison come in and say, what's wrong, baby? You look like there's something wrong. No, George Murchison will come in and go, come on, get yourself together. We got to go. We got a time. Our show starts in an hour. Come on. You're crying? What are you crying for? What are you crying? Come on, that's not how we act. That's how George would act because George is shallow. But what do we find out about Asagai? First thing, you look disturbed too. Is something wrong? So he's worried for her and he asks her about it. He wants to know. He wants to help her. He wants to make her feel better. It tells me a lot about Asagai without even having met the guy yet. Benita, still at the door absently. Yes, we've all got acute ghettoitis. She smiles and comes toward him, finding a cigarette and sitting. Stop right there. What a quote. Listen to that quote. He says, are you okay? Is something wrong? And she says, yes, we've all got acute ghettoitis. Now, ghettoitis is not a sickness that is recognized by the American Medical Association or any other association. No, she made that term up. She's being sarcastic, but what is she really saying? We've all got acute ghettoitis. What she's saying is the ghetto is making them sick. It's killing them. It's like a disease, and it's slowly breaking them down. Look at what it's doing to her brother, and she knows it. Look at what it's doing to her nephew. He's outside playing with rats for crying out. They're killing rats with sticks, blood's flying, and he thinks it's funny and hilarious. Look what it's doing to her sister-in-law, right? That now she has a baby in her belly with her husband of 10 years. And she's not happy to add another baby to the family? That's an amazing and wonderful thing. But she's not. She's sad and upset about it. That's what the ghetto is doing. That's what this neighborhood is doing to them. So again, beneath the saying, we've all got acute ghettoitis. That's a heck of a quote to show just what this is doing to the youngers, what having their dreams deferred is doing to them. It's giving them acute ghettoitis. It's such an important quote. She smiles and comes toward him, finding a cigarette and sitting. So, sit down. No, wait. She whips the spray gun off the sofa where she had left it and puts the cushions back. Hold on, everybody. I'm just checking something very quickly. I want to see what page I want to end up on. Okay, 68. Sorry, where was I? And push, because at last she perches on the arms of her sofa. He sits. So how is Canada? Asagai, a sophisticate. Canadian. Benita looking at him. Asagai, I'm very glad you are back. Asagai looking back at her in turn. Are you really? Benita, yes, very. Why? You were quite glad when I went away. What happened? Benita, you went away. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, stop. I'm getting the feeling right now, the way he's looking at her, and she's saying, I'm very glad you're back. I think Asagai likes Benita. I think Asagai likes Benita very, very much. Now, I think Benita likes Asagai, but she doesn't want to get serious with Asagai. Why? She's already told us why. What is she more interested in doing than getting serious with a man? She wants to become a medical doctor. She wants to finish her medical school. So I'm getting the feeling like she said, I'm glad you're back. And he says, but you were glad when I went away. What happened? And she said, well, you went away. So I think he was really trying to get serious with her before he went away. Then he left and she was like, good, go. I don't want to get serious with you. It's good that you're leaving. He comes back and she says, I'm really glad you're back. And he's like, well, wait a minute. I thought you were glad that I went away. And she says, well, you went away. So I think she missed him. And I think he realizes that she missed him. So that means if you're Asagai, do you have a chance with this woman? Might she become your girlfriend? Possibly your fiance? A wife, lover, that type of thing. And the fact that she says she missed him gives Asagai some hope. Why? You were quite glad when I went away. What happened? You went away. Benita, before you wanted to be so serious before there was time. So I am right. Asagai was trying to get very serious with her. Asagai, how much time must there be before one knows what one feels? Oh, snap. That's the guy is putting it right on her. He's saying, I have told you that I like you. When are you going to tell me what you feel? How much time do you need to know what you feel? Now, remember, Benita is a 20-year-old girl, so she still doesn't know how she feels all the time, all the way. She's not, fully developed yet as a woman and as a human being, right? But also, she's going through medical school, which is huge. And by the way, she knows Assegai from medical school. So this is an African guy who has come to go to medical school in America in the 1950s. It shows you just how smart and strong-willed and amazing and awesome Assegai is. But so she's got all these things swirling around in her. Plus now she's got this check coming, her brother wanting the money. She doesn't know what mama wants to do with the money. She's got her sister-in-law she just found that is pregnant. She's got her nephew playing with rats outside. It's hard for her to understand what she thinks. Of course it is. Now, if you're Assegai, you don't want to pressure her too much, but you also want her to know how you feel. Listen. Assegai, how much time must there be before one knows what one feels beneath stalling this particular conversation? In other words, she doesn't want to answer that yet. Her hands are pressed together in a deliberately childish gesture. What did you bring me? Assegai, handing her the package. Open it and see. Benita eagerly opening the package and drawing out some record and the colorful robes of a Nigerian woman. Oh, Assegai, you got them for me? How beautiful. And the records too. She lifts out the robes and runs to the mirror with them and holds the drapery up in front of herself. Okay, so clearly in their conversations, Benita had mentioned to him that she really liked the dresses that Nigerian women wear in Nigeria, like the real Nigerian dresses. And she also mentioned that she had some interest in Nigerian music. Well, what did Assegai do? He went and got her Nigerian robes and records. And not for nothing. Do you think it's very easy to find Nigerian robes and records in Harlem? The answer would be probably not in 1940s, 1950s. So where did he get these things from? He sent to Africa for them. What does that tell us about Assegai? That he really likes this woman, that he would go and do something like that. In fact, let's find out more. She lifts out the robes and runs to the mirror with them and holds the drapery up in front of herself. Assegai coming to her at the mirror. I shall have to teach you how to drape it properly. He flings the material about her for the moment and stands back to look at her. Ah, opagade, ogamamushe. A Yoruba exclamation for admiration. You wear it well, very well. Mutilated hair and all. Okay, stop. He just came up behind her and he said, Apagobade, Amagumashe. And I apologize if I'm not saying that right. Of course, I know I'm not saying it right. I don't know Nigerian, but I'm going to try my best. And I'm certainly not mocking him. I actually think his language is quite beautiful and wonderful. But what he says, he comes behind her and he says admiringly. So he likes what he sees, these dresses around her, now that she looks mostly Nigerian. But then he points something out. He says, you wear it well, very well, mutilated hair and all. Guys, gals, what is something that's mutilated? What does it mean to mutilate something? It means to destroy it beyond all recognition, to mutilate something. So he just said her hair is mutilated. In other words, it's destroyed. It's not normal or natural. Now, what he's referring to is the fact that during the 1940s and 50s, a lot of Black women didn't like to wear their hair naturally. And that means afroed out, like kinky and, high and big, just the way an African woman or person's hair should grow, up and out. I'll tell you a side story. My sister married a Black guy. They live in Montclair. His name is Dan. He's a fantastic guy, right? And they have 2 daughters, and they're half Black and half white. And they have more Black hair than they have white hair. And my sister, God bless her, she didn't know how to deal with that when they were first born. She was washing their hair every day and it wasn't working correctly. And she was blow drying it and doing it the wrong way. Why? Because my sister didn't know any better. Eventually, and thank goodness, Dan's family, his mother and sisters and aunts and grandma, they came in and they showed my sister Megan how to take care of their hair, to make sure that she's not mutilating it, to keep it natural and beautiful. And by the way, I have to say right now, my one niece, she's a freshman in college. She's got the most beautiful afro. It's huge. It's like this. It's amazing. It's beautiful. It's taken years to grow, of course, but it's perfect. And it's completely unmutilated. And I'm doing that in quotation marks. In other words, Assegai would be very proud of her hair because she doesn't change it. Now, why did black women in the 1940s and 50s change their hair? And when I say mutilate, that's Assegai's word. But what did they do? What did it mean to mutilate it? It meant they were straightening it, right? They were combing it out and straightening their hair. Why? To make it look more, unfortunately to say, more like the white people's hair, because that's what white people wanted to see. They didn't want to see black people having black people hair, having afros and kinky hair and curly hair and very high up hair. They didn't like that. Why? Because they wanted to keep black people down. They wanted to oppress them more. So Assegai is pointing this out to her. He's saying, well, you look normal, you look good, but of course you have that mutilated hair. Now, how is Benita going to deal with being told that her hair is mutilated? Let's find out. I don't think she's going to like it. Benita turning suddenly. My hair? What's wrong with my hair? Assegai shrugging. Were you born with it like that? Benita reaching up to touch it. No, of course not. She looks back to the mirror, disturbed. I think she just realized everything that Assegai is insinuating in that 1 second. Well, then why? Why are you making your hair different? Are you doing it to make white people happy, to make society happy? To heck with them. Why aren't you making you happy? You need to be who you are. She says, no, of course not. She looks back to the mirror, disturbed. In other words, he has affected her. Assegai smiling. Well, how then? Benita, you know perfectly well how. As crinkly as yours, that's how. So Assegai has not changed his hair, right? He does not do the American way of doing it, the white people way of doing it. He keeps it normal, right? Because he's a proud African man. He wants her to be a proud African-American woman, not just an American woman. Listen, you know perfectly well how. As crinkly as yours, that's how. And Assegai says, and it is ugly to you that way? Benita quickly, oh, no, not ugly, more slowly, apologetically. But it's so hard to manage well when it's raw. And so to accommodate that, you mutilate it every week? It's not mutilation. Assegai has really gotten under Benita's skin. Listen, laughing aloud at her seriousness. Oh, please, I'm only teasing you because you are so very serious about these things. Now, was he teasing her about it? Yes and no. I think he's saying now he was teasing her because he doesn't want to hurt her feelings and he doesn't want to say it in a way that makes it seem like he's hurting her feelings. I think he just wanted to wake her up to the idea that she's not being true to herself and to her heritage. He stands back from her and folds his arms across his chest as he watches her pulling at her hair and frowning in the mirror. Do you remember the first time you met me at school? You came up to me and you said, and I thought you were the most serious little thing I've ever seen. You said, he imitates her, Mr. Assegai, I want very much to talk with you about Africa. You see, Mr. Assegai, I am looking for my identity. He laughs. Benita turning to him, not laughing. Yes. Her face is quizzical, profoundly disturbed. Again, Benita thinks he is mocking her right now. He is not mocking her, but he does want to point out to her that she, without even knowing it, is doing exactly what the white people want to her, that she is changing her body, her face, her hair, her clothes. What? To make them happy. And to heck with them. Why not make her happy, her family happy? Listen, Assegai, still teasing and reaching out and taking her face in his hands and turning her profile to him. Well, it is true that it is not so much a profile of a Hollywood queen as perhaps a queen of the Nile, a mock dismissal of the importance of the question. But what does it matter? Assimilation is so popular in your country. Okay, he just held her face and said, you could be a beautiful Nigerian woman, right? If you did it, if you didn't change yourself, right, in the American way, you could look as beautiful as any queen of the Nile. And he is not knocking her on that. I think he's actually saying that she is that beautiful, but he doesn't like how she changes her hair to make white people happy or to make white people think that she fits in somehow with them. Why does she have to fit in? Why can't she be herself? Why can't white people deal with the fact that black people have their own hair and then grows their own way? I mean, what the heck? Of course they do. Everybody's different. Then he says, assimilation is so popular in your country. Do you guys know what assimilationism is? If you assimilate, that means you blend into your society. And what he's saying, and he's right, in the 1940s and 50s, that was a big deal in America. Everybody, including black people, was supposed to assimilate to society. So you were supposed to do exactly what society wanted you. You're supposed to go where you were supposed to go, right? So if you were a black person, you were supposed to stay in the ghetto, not go to college, not get a good job, not have your dreams, right? And you're supposed to assimilate to that, which means you're supposed to accept it without questioning it or anything because, of course, the government in white society knows better. And he's pointing that out to her that, okay, I understand why you're doing it. That's what everybody does. Now, question, does Benita assimilate? And the answer is no, not really. She does whatever she wants. She goes to med school no matter what they say. She does her horseback riding and picture taking, and she did what else she do? She did play acting, and I think she did guitar lessons. So she does not assimilate, but maybe she does in this one thing with her hair. And Asagai is telling this to her because maybe she has to check herself. Maybe she's doing it in other ways. So does she assimilate? The answer is no. But boy, she doesn't like being called an assimilationist. And watch her answer this beneath the wheeling, passionately, sharply. I am not an assimilationist. The protest hangs in the room for a moment. And Asagai studies her, his laughter fading. Such a serious one. There's a pause. So you like the robes? You must take excellent care of them. They are from my sister's personal wardrobe. All right, stop. Did you hear that? Remember he got her the robes and the records? They came from his sister's personal wardrobe. So he mailed home, told his sister, I know this woman that I like very much. Can you please send me some of your clothes so I can give them to her? That's huge. That shows you not only just how much he really likes her, but how much he thinks of her. It's very important. And she says with incredulity, in other words, she's like, you really did that for me? Oh my God. I think she realizes now just how much he likes her. This is a really huge deal for him to do. It's very personal and it's very warm. You sent all the way home for me? Asked a guy with charm. For you, I would do much more. Well, this is what I came for. I must go. OMG. Did you ask a guy's got some charm? Did you hear what he just said? For you, I would do much more. And then he leaves that hanging out there. What more would he do for her? Well, that is what I came for. I must go. Benita, will you call me on Monday? Yes, we have a great deal to talk about. I mean, about identity and time and all of that. Time? Yes, about how much time one needs to know what one feels. So, I think he's pressuring her again a little bit. He wants her to be his girl, right? To be his woman, boyfriend, girlfriend, lovers, even. And she doesn't want that. She keeps telling him, I don't know what I want. I don't know what I want. And he says, take your time, figure it out. But now he's saying, well, how much time do you need, girl? Let's go. Let's do this. Now, is he pressuring her? Yes. But is he pressuring her in a negative way? I don't think so. I mean, let's wait and see what she says. If she says she needs more time, then he must give it to her because that's what you must do on both sides. You got to let the people figure it out for themselves. You can't force it on somebody. Certainly not love. You see, this is Benita speaking. You see, you never understood that there is more than one kind of a feeling which can exist between an woman, or at least there should be. See, listen to what she said. You see, you never understood that there is more than one kind of feeling which can exist between a man and a woman, or at least that there should be. So what she's saying is, we don't have to be lovers. We don't have to be boyfriend and girlfriend. Why can't we just be friends? And his response, shaking his head negatively but gently, no. Between a man and a woman, there need be only one kind of feeling. I have that for you now, even right this moment. He's telling her gently, I really like you. I want you to like me back. We could be so much together. Benita, I know. And by itself, it won't do. I can find that anywhere. And Benita, the strong woman that she is, she says, I don't care that you like me. That's not enough. I can find anybody who likes me. Heck, George Murchison, that Shallow Ridge jerk guy, he likes me. So, and I guess what she's saying, and she is darn right to say it, I'm not going to marry somebody or hook up with somebody just because they like me. I have to like them too. Ask a guy. For a woman, it should be enough. Benita, I know, because that's what it says in all the novels that men write, but it isn't. Go ahead and laugh, but I'm not interested in being someone's little episode in America. Or, with feminine vengeance, one of them. Asagai has burst into laughter again. That's funny as hell, isn't it? All right. She just said, I don't want to be anybody's episode in America. What she's saying is, she's worried that Asagai is just using her for fun, right? Hook up with her, hang out with her, maybe do more. That's up, I'm not saying it, but that's what she's worried he wants. And she's saying, I don't want that. I don't want you to just date me, get what you want, then run back to Africa and tell everybody, ooh, I dated an American woman. See, like as an episode, it's just a one-time thing. Now, guys, gals, we've been listening to Ask the Guy. Does it sound like he's interested in just a one-time thing? This sounds like much, 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 much more. But again, she A, is used to guys who only want one thing. I think we're finding out right now, George Murchison, that's what he's interested in, is just that one thing, that, kissy, kissy, smoochy, smoochy thing. Let's just say that without going any much further into detail. And also, she wants to be a doctor. She doesn't want to base her life on on a man, which so many women do at that time and were expected to do, just drop their dreams, marry their husband, and take care of him. No, she wants more. But here's the thing. George Murchison, the rich dude, remember, he laughed at the fact that she wanted to be a doctor. Does Assegai want her to just quit medical school and become his wife? Or does he want her to become a doctor, be a strong woman, and his wife? See, I don't think she understands Assegai all that well. I think she thinks he's more like the American men who just want one thing. No, I think Assegai wants much more. Listen, but then again, he told her now it's time for her to make her decision. And if she says no, he's got to respect that, right? Of course. Let's find out. That's funny as hell, huh? It's just that every American girl I've known has said that to me. White, black, in this you are all the same. And the same speech, too. Beneath the angrily, yuck, yuck, yuck. That's a guy. It's how you can be sure that the world's most liberated women are not liberated at all. You all talk about it too much. Mama enters and is immediately all social charm because of the presence of the guest. Okay, so here comes Mama. Now, Mama has never met Assegai before. So she was just dealing with her daughter-in-law who's having a monstrous problem, right? So let's see how quickly Mama can switch beats. Benita. Oh, Mama, this is Mr. Assegai. Well, how do you do? Assegai, total politeness to an elder. How do you do, Mrs. Younger? Please forgive me for coming at such an outrageous hour on a Saturday. OMG, go Assegai. Already. You know he's in Mama's good books, right? Because look at how he just talked to her right away. Look in the future, by the way, when George comes over, is George as polite and respectful to Mama and Ruth and everybody else in the family? The answer is going to be no. Remember, George is a rich snob and he acts that way. Assegai, on the other hand, is all politeness. I want to say it again. Listen to this. And gentlemen, take note of how he talks to the girl that he likes, Mom. Because if you want to date a girl, you've got to get in good with their parents, right? And how do you do that? By being polite and respectful to them. Listen, how do you do, Mrs. Younger? Please forgive me for coming at such an outrageous hour on a Saturday. Mama, well, you are quite welcome. I just hope you understand that our house don't always look like this. Cherish, you must come again. I would love to hear all about, not sure of the name, your country. I think it's so sad the way our American Negroes don't know nothing about Africa except Tarzan and all that. And all that money they pour into these churches when they ought to be helping you people over there drive out them French and Englishmen on taking away your land. The mother flashes a slightly superior look at her daughter upon completion of the recitation. If you'll recall, Benita said, make sure you don't embarrass yourself and talk all about like Tarzan and whatnot. So Mama did just that. And that's the sarcastic look she's giving Benita. She's like, yeah, see, I didn't do anything that you thought I would. Assegai, taken aback by the sudden and acutely unrelated expression of sympathy. Yes. Now, Assegai, I guess he is used to people treating him weird because he's from Africa and asking him stupid questions like, do people travel on vines and, walk around with monkeys and stuff? Because that is racist and intolerant. But that is the way Black people are dealt with at this time. And that's why Benita said, don't talk to him like that. That's what he deals with all the time from people. So Mama does it the opposite and treats him with actual, genuine kindness and sympathy towards the plight of Africans. And Assegai's not used to that. That's why he takes it like that. He's like, yes. So I think both of them are very happy with each other. Mama is happy that Assegai is so polite and kind, and Assegai is so happy that Mama is so thoughtful and kind. Let's continue. Mama smiling at him suddenly and relaxing and looking at him over. How many miles is it from here to where you come from? Assegai, many thousands. Mama looking at him as she would Walter. I bet you don't have to look after yourself being away from your mama either. I expect you better come around here from time to time to get yourself some decent home-cooked meals. Now stop. She just looked him over like she would Walter, which means like a mama looking at her son, right? With genuine care and I don't want to say love, but let's just say kindness in her eyes. And look what she just did. She said, I bet you don't get to spend time with your mama because you're all the way over here. Why don't you come here sometime for some genuine home-cooked meals? She just invited him over to family dinners, not just one, to several of them. So right away, we're learning Mama really likes Assegai, and Assegai understands that right away, and he's moved that she offered him that. Assegai moved. Thank you. Thank you very much. They're all quiet then. Well, I must go. I will call you Monday, Aleo. What's that he call you? Assegai. Oh, Aleo. I hope you don't mind. It is what you would call a nickname, I think. It is a Yoruba word. I am a Yoruba. Mama looking at Benita. I thought he was from uncertain. Assegai understanding. Nigeria is my country. Yoruba is my tribal origin. Benita, you didn't tell us what Aleo means. For all I know, you might be calling me little idiot or something. So actually, she does want to know. I mean, this is a Yoruba word, Nigerian word. So she's smart to find out. You've been calling me this name Aleo for a while. What the heck does Aleo mean? What are you really calling me? Now listen to what it means. This is so important. Now, would Assegai, what we've met of him so far, how kind and decent he is, he got the sister's robes, he got her the records from Nigeria. Would he be dissing her behind her back? I don't think so at all. In fact, I think it's probably quite the opposite. I think Aleo means something good, but let's wait and see. You didn't tell us what Aleo means. For all I know, you might be calling me a little idiot or something. Well, let me see. I do not know just how to explain it. The sense of a thing can be so different when it changes languages. Benita, you're evading. Assegai, no, really, it is difficult thinking. It means one for whom bread, food, is not enough. He looks at her. Is that all right? Benita, understanding softly. Thank you. Think about that. He said her nickname, Aleo, which is actually kind of a pretty name. It means one for whom bread or food is not enough. What does that really mean? It means he believes that Benita, isn't just satisfied with the status quo, with just being fed. She wants more out of life. She wants the most she can get out of life. Now, is that a proper description of Benita? Actually, it's a fantastic one because remember, Benita does not allow her dreams to be deferred. She takes what she wants and she goes out and fights for it. Medical school, all these different things that she's tried. We've talked about it before, the guitar, the acting lessons and all that. She goes for more. And Assegai recognizes it, that she's just not happy. I mean, not for nothing. You couldn't call her Aleo, one for whom food or bread is not enough, if she was a regular, shallow person who was only interested in getting married, getting rich, and being done with that. Because if she was, she would just happily stay with George, marry him, take his money, have his babies, and take care of him. Even though he was a jerk to her and didn't really love her, that's what somebody who would do if they believed that food was enough. They would just take what they get and run with it. Benita does the hard thing. Benita goes to medical school. Benita fights for her rights, right? It's a heck of a nickname that he called her, and she understands that, and she says softly, thank you. Now, Mama, looking at one from the other and not understanding any of it, says, well, that's nice. You must come and see us again, Mr. Assegai. Mama, yes, do come again. Assegai says, goodbye, and then he exits. Mama says after him, Lord, that's a pretty thing just went out of here, insinuatingly to her daughter. Yes, I guess I see why we done commenced to get so interested in Africa around here. Missionary's my Aunt Jenny. And she exits. All right, now, what did Mama just insinuate? She watches Assegai leave the apartment, and she watches him and he goes. And she says, ooh, that's a pretty thing that just went out of here. She's being very shallow right now, and she's only talking about the way he looks. Apparently, Assegai is a very good-looking man, and Mama is appreciative of that he's so handsome. So she says insinuatingly to her daughter, now I know why you've been talking about Africa and talking about this man. You just like the way he looks. Now, does Benita like the way he looks? Yes, and she should. I mean, if she is going to date this guy, we don't know yet. She's still thinking about it. Of course, one of the things you need to do is be attracted to the person you're going to date and are dating. But that's not everything. And that's certainly not Benita. Benita would not. And we know this already about her. She would not just date somebody because of the way they look. And we already know that because of George Murchison. They said before, not only is he rich, but he's hot. He's a handsome, good-looking, really beautiful man. So why don't you just take him? He's yours. Go get him and run with it. And she said before, I'm not going to be with him just because of that. He doesn't even like the fact that I'm going to be a doctor. He thinks it's funny. He's laughed at me about that. So Mama is thinking, and wrongly so, that the only reason why she likes Assegai is because he's a good-looking man. Oh, no. We have just found out so much more. Think about why she likes Assegai. because he is kind, because he thinks about her, because he wants the best for her, because he wants her to be herself. So much to talk about in this play, but I think we're good for today. So we have just finished assignment number 3. I read to page 68, the middle of page 68 on the online version. We will pick up from there, the middle of page 68 for assignment number 4A. We will do that tomorrow. Everybody, fantastic job. Have a great day.